What's up, everyone? And this is Next Level Thinking.
What's up, everyone? Happy New Year as we go into 2024, as we keep you motivated to keep going to the next level. That's what it's all about. It's your host, Chris Holmes, as always. And today I have my special guest by the name of...
It's Kahlil, brother. How are you?
Doing fantastic as we roll into a fantastic, and then I'm anticipating great things for this year.
Mm-hmm.
So as we get things going, tell the audience a little bit about yourself as we get this fun thing going.
Okay, cool, man. My name is Kahlil B. Martin. I'm the owner and operator of Create Productions, which is a production company. So we specialize in branding, social media, and things of that nature, videography. And also, I'm the owner of Create Studios, which is an amazing studio located in Houston. We have content rooms, we have a co-working space. It's super dope.
Awesome. And then you hit on branding, content, studio, and much more. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people out there looking for those kind of great things. But what got you into this creative world?
Well, so really my background is completely opposite. So I went to school at Oklahoma State University for mechanical engineering. And as you can tell, that's like two different spectrums. But when I was at school, I got into doing graphic design because I was president over organizations. And I basically just wanted good flyers for the organization. And so because of that, I started getting into graphic design. And then as that, kept going, I was in the library doing all my graphic design instead of doing my engineering homework. And after college, I went back to school and I got my MBA in marketing and project management. And during that time, I was still doing engineering, and they put me in the middle of nowhere. I had hard hat boots. I was waking up at 4 a.m. hard hat boots. I'm waking up doing the engineering thing, and I just decided to buy a camera. And I bought a camera. I remember I did one photo shoot for somebody for free. One of my good friends' name is Brandon. I did one photo shoot, and then after the photo shoot, someone asked me to do their senior photos. And then after I did that, they paid me for it. It was $75 for senior photos. And I remember after that, people just kept saying hey, how much senior photos can you do this? Can you do this? And so because of that, I really just started getting into it. But when I was in college, I was more focused on branding, graphic design, the look of everything. And from that, it morphed into the camera, and then from the camera to going to different studios for different clients. And every time I would go to one, I kept saying man, I can do this myself. So I went out and I bought studio equipment, and I was shooting people literally in my one bedroom apartment, and people would come and I would shoot them in my apartment. And 2 years later, after finally going forward, that's how I came here with the studio and everything.
And I'm glad how you told that story, especially in the very beginnings of how you were just start off with something small, like a simple photo shoot, and then you quickly found out after a free photo shoot, people are interested in actually paying you. And that's the groundworks of a lot of different things. And you went through your own process of going through pursuing engineering at first. Of course, you have that knowledge and much more still there, but it's just the customers pulled you in another direction, hey, how much you charge for this? Hey, can you do with this? And much more. And it just even adds even more of a different layer to it as well.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely will say I didn't expect to be here probably when I was going to college, because I promise you, I thought I was going to work for Nike and design helmets and footwear and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
Cool. And I also want to hear a little bit more in depth about how you pretty much motivate yourself to do certain things, because you were mentioning a little bit of yeah, I just want my own kind of flyer or graphic, and I said, I can do this myself. And I feel times people out there, they feel they have to have other people do these things for you, when especially nowadays with technology, you can do a lot of these things yourself. So I want you to kind of go a little bit more in depth and details of what it was like when you were okay, let me do this on my own, or what kind of things you look up, because we have YouTube and all that, but what's your process?
So man, when I first got started, I don't think TikTok was around. So I was really just going on YouTube. I would like watch YouTube videos, really just look at the tutorials, or even like Instagram. I think maybe that's when Instagram started doing a little bit of tutorials, but I want to say it was mainly just YouTube. And really just like trying stuff. I'm somebody that I feel like if anything I put my mind to, where I really try to do it, that I can end up doing it. And over time, you just get a little bit of skill. It's really just more so just trying stuff.
And that's what it's all about, trying to do different things outside your comfort zone, and just you never know where life may take you. Because even yourself, you were saying like, I did not even expect myself to be here. And that's, I felt like that's the journey of life, because so many times we plan things out and there's nothing wrong with planning, but then life pulls you into another direction. So with that, like, what were some of the obstacles that you faced, and then some of the things you learned along the way of your journey?
I would say like each like part of it, there's like different obstacles. Like when I was in college, the biggest obstacles was small compared to now. Like now, like building like the studio, that's like a whole monster in itself. Like the story of the studio is I actually came up with the studio 2 years ago, and I didn't
Mhm.
even take it seriously until like literally this year. I remember in March, one of my friends had invited me to like this event, and it would happen to be like a lender matchmaking event. Everybody was saying like, "Hey, how much money do you want?" And I'm in there like, I have no idea. Like I'm like, okay, cool. This is how much I think. And I ended up getting into this program that like basically helped jumpstart getting the studio. And basically the amount of money that I had wanted from the beginning, it started off really good, and then when it was time to get the money, I got literally half of that. So because of that, as I'm building the studio, like I'm talking to like contractors, and they're telling me like it's going to be this amount, it's going to be this amount. And I'm like, that's literally all the budget to do like one or two things. And so
Mhm.
because of that, the biggest challenge was figuring out how do I build the studio. And so I'm in there, I'm painting walls, I'm basically became a contractor. So I started hitting up every single friend I had, like, hey, can you come by the studio for a little bit, help me out? Can you help paint? Can you help do this? So I think the biggest problem was just really just figuring out how to build the studio. And then,
Mhm.
like I said, it's different stages. Like there's always a new challenge. So I would just say that's probably been the hardest one for me. And even just now, like, getting people to know about the studio. So
Yep, and that's why we have platforms like this, the podcast, and just word of mouth, just to get it out there. And while I was listening, I like a lot of things of what you're saying, but one thing I also keyed on is how you reached out to different people, and that just reminds me the importance of your influence or your connection or your network in your own, pretty much your connections, because you reached out to somebody, and then they were like, okay, I'm willing to help out, and it's a reminder to me and to the world that relationships are very important, and because you never know when they meet where you may need their help to come on.
oh yeah, for sure. Like, and I promise you, I don't think any of my like close friends knew that it was gonna, come into that until like it really came into that, because it happened so quickly, like with the whole studio and everything like that. And I'm like, hey, I need help now. And I always say though, like, it, be good to people, because when you're good to others, people are good to you. So
I completely agree with that. It's like planting the seed, because you never know where life is going to hit you,
uh,
and where, like, where you may reap for be planting your seeds until like where you can really own into your harvest. And that's always like, Gary Vee, one of the people I look into a lot. Like, he's always good about treating people well, because everybody needs a helping hand, and you never know that with you constantly feeding into somebody, you may eventually connect to the person that may be your biggest break.
for sure. Like I said, you never really know.
True, true. So as you go into like your daily processing and things, like, what's your daily schedule looks like?
Um, you know, my daily schedule, it's changed. Like I said, it's changed. Now, right now, my daily schedule is first thing I do when I wake up in the morning. If I don't go for a run, the first thing I do is I open my laptop and I make a video. Like my thing is now, like I have to put out content every single day. So that my
Mhm.
my challenge to myself, my goal to myself is 365 days of content. So and then after that is, coming to the studio if I have a booking or if I have anything that's required of me. Of course, I'm there for my meetings and stuff like that. But really the biggest thing is just waking up in the morning, going for a run, making my content, coming to the studio, reaching out to people, the daily operations of like, just building a business and building a brand and like getting everything together. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I have long days, sometimes I don't get back to 1, 2, sometimes 10, 11, just because like it's at a point to where like I like what I'm doing, and so it doesn't feel like I'm doing work. It's like, of course I have things to do, but it's just like it's just things that I want to do.
And that's the best thing is when you get to the point where like the thing you're passionate about doesn't even feel like where you just pretty much love it. You're passionate about it. You just get up and going. And then habits play a great role into that as well. Cause like I like how you were saying like if I don't start based on my computer work, I'm going for a run. It's like the little things go a long way because your fitness is very important. And then you also hit about like creating content because we all business owners know that if you don't put yourself out there, who's gonna know about your business?
Yeah.
And like you got to put yourself out there. What are some of the ways that you use the social media platforms when you're creating content?
I like the biggest ways for me using social media platform is there's only so much you can do on social media. So when it comes to that, it's really like the outreach, right? So you have your warm audience and your cold audience. So everybody that follow me, I make sure that I DM everybody that follows my social media pages.
No,
So
wait. You went a little bit too fast. Define what warm and cold audience, because I got you, but some people may be like, "What is that? You just like cold water?"
okay, cool. So like your warm audience, those are people that know about you already. So they could be friends, family, but then also they could be people that follow you already, people that have already been into your bubble. They know about your business, they know about your page. And then your cold audience is the people that don't know you at all. So that's what I mean by warm and cold. And so I do a mix of both on social media. So of course you have the free content that I'm posting. I'm always posting content. So that type of content, it attracts my warm audience, but also it attracts my cold audience. And then we move forward, which is something that I do a lot, is I actually reach out to people. So I reach out to people that follow me already, and then I reach out to people that don't follow me already. So for the studio page, I may reach out to photographers, videographers, like, hey, check out the studio. And then for people that already follow the page, I'm like, hey, thank you for following. Please, come by the studio for a quick tour or something like that. So it's just utilizing those on social media, and then everything else, it just kind of bubbles into that.
Absolutely. And then one key strategy that I even use myself in college is to pretty much message people. Because one thing that I'm maybe spending a little jewels like you just did as well is I used to wake up like every morning before my college classes and just DM or message a crap ton of people, especially while I was on campus. Because in my mind, if I kept doing that, eventually was somebody was going to respond. And that's how I connected to so many people at the university. But I want you to tell me more in detail about like your uh your journey and like your outcomes when you were doing this as well, because I feel like some people just don't understand or like believe that this works.
Yeah, and the thing is though, it works, and you wouldn't believe like how many people, even for the studio, has just come by, and every time I ask like, so what brought you by there? Like, well, the page just reached out to me, so I looked at it and I was like, oh, I love it. And so for me, it works. I'm not gonna say it works 100% of the time. I remember when I was first building the studio, I reach out to 100 people, 3 people will respond. As you start building your page and building your following, people are more receptive to actually like, respond. But for the most part, like I would say that has gone a long way. And that's the reason why I've gotten a lot of people just to come by and view the studio, because if they follow me, I reached out and was like, hey, come by the studio. So it's that like instant, like I want to see you. Um, and yeah, and even with like my production company, I shoot my shots I shoot my shots with that. So I'll DM people, I'll DM businesses, I email businesses. I'm like, hey, um, I see, your page may need some work, or I feel like I can assist. And like I said, it doesn't hit every percent of the time, but really life is just a numbers game anyway. So as you keep shooting, you're gonna hit one.
Hey, look, and then I'm gonna use it like basketball reference. You miss every shot that you don't shoot. So
And
how
that
you gonna
is,
know?
like my one of my like favorite videos is when Kanye West won like a Grammy. He was like, um people always want to know what I do if I didn't win. He's like, I guess we'll never know. And I feel that's the same thing when you're like shooting your shots. Like if you don't shoot your shot, you'll never know if you winning or not.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing that kind of makes people afraid to shoot that shot is fear. So, what is some ways that you overcome your fear or just getting outside your comfort zone? Because I can just hear the audience now, especially when it comes to Brandon, they have all these great ideas, things they want to do, contribute, and then put out to the world, and then they hear them voices in their head, or they may hear their friends, or they may hear their family or their coworkers, and they just pretty much cringe up.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say this, like people are going to tell you no, people are not going to respond, people are going to ignore you or whatever, and that's supposed to happen, because the ones that get it, and the ones that don't. And for me, overcoming fear, I feel like my whole life I've just been like shooting my shots. And my favorite thing I always tell myself is like, well, I always say, but it's really, it's just for me. I'd be like, oh, I did this on accident. Like, I bumped into this person, we started talking, and this happened on accident. But in actuality, everything is really just you trying to figure out how to like, get out there. I would say when it came to like the studio stuff and where I'm at now as like an entrepreneur, as a business owner, there was a moment when I was in New York. Um, I was at this restaurant called Melba's. It was like Sunday morning or something like that. And I remember it was a group of these older ladies. It was like 4 or 5 of them. And they was taking a selfie. And I looked at them and I looked away because I was like, well, that's weird. They taking a picture. I'm about to stare at them. But one of the older ladies leaned over to my girlfriend, was like, he is so shy. And I was like, she has no idea who I am. But because of that, I just, it kind of stuck with me. And I was like, man, am I scary? Like, am I shy? And then so I just dedicated like everything in me to like, you know what, just start doing everything you want to do. Because at the end of the day, like you only get one life. You only get every moment is now. Literally, I have a tattoo on me that I got like 3 years ago that is like now, but it's in like a time format. And like when you think about it, the time is now because you never know when your day comes or whatever. And you got 30 years, 40 years, 50 years left of your life. And like I just told myself that I don't want to have regrets that I didn't do anything I wanted to do, Because even with like where I'm at right now, it's like, I jumped out on a ledge, I jumped out into the ocean, and it's either I'm gonna swim through it or I'm gonna drown. But even at the same time, if something don't work, I'll just get up and do it all over again.
Mhm.
And that just speaks to like I feel like I'm a big man of faith, so I'm like God wouldn't fail me, and like I just have
Right.
to see it the way that everything is works out for you. It's more so like a lesson. So I just look at fear as just getting in your own way, because they say that your deepest fear is not that you're inadequate. Your deepest fear is you're powerful beyond measure. Most people are scared of what they can actually do. They actually put their mind to it, but they don't know it. But subconsciously.
Yep, and it's all about breaking that and breaking those chains and much more so you can start moving forward. And that is a thing, I think, like the most common thing people struggle with. And is you're just pretty much showing it each and every day, even if it's the smallest stuff, you're moving forward. And that's what matters the most, because so many people plan on doing things or like say they're going to do different things. Shoot, there was a moment when I planned on doing a podcast and other people want to do it, and then you have to start shooting. And I'm just continuing to go each and every day. But the main thing is making sure you put the action with the words, because the last thing that you want to do is years pass by and you're looking at your life and going like, dang, I didn't really do anything or nothing or nowhere near the things that I want to do in my life. And now it's like that feeling of regret just starts soaking in. And so, yes, I do like a lot of things you're saying, because you never know. But if you go out trying and getting up, it feels a hell of a lot better than not trying at all, within having that what if.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Like, I can rest assured right now. I can say, you know what? I did it. I tried. I'm gonna keep going, but at the same time, it's like I know without a shadow of a doubt that I'm comfortable in my skin, because I know, like I'm doing something that I wanted to do.
And so you just hit something again. I'm gonna pretty much open up even more. Comfortable in your own skin. A lot of people are afraid to be of being themselves, especially when you have social media and everything moving so fast and much more. You got everybody glammed up, and people are afraid of being themselves. And let me remind you that everybody has their own kind of flaws. Nobody's perfect. Even the people that are at the highest stage have their own flaws. But I want you to take this opportunity to express to the audience like the importance of being yourself and being yourself fully through your ups and downs, because that's what makes it unique to you.
I mean, this. So I would say that we're all living in our own documentary, right? And when you're watching Netflix, when you look at documentaries, what are the best documentaries? What are the ones that you really gravitate towards? And most of the time, they're the documentaries where it's somebody that had the lows and then they got to the high and then they went low again and they went high. And that's all about just finding yourself. Kanye West has his lyric. He says, "Everything I'm not made me everything I am." And so, like, it's important to just find who you are and be yourself, because once you really get that in, I think that's like the the trampoline to doing whatever you want to do and jumping forward. Could I say once you believe in yourself, it's really just effort after that.
It really is just pushing all that and much more. And let me tie this into something that you're doing right now. I feel like with a person documenting their story, putting out content, expressing themselves, who they are, ups and downs, and much more, is a key component to branding. Kind of reminds me of Nike of just do it, regardless of like the struggles that get up and going and moving forward. What is branding to you, and how do you contribute into your own work? So you can probably help us drop a few gems for the audience listening.
Oh, for sure. So when I think of branding, I think of this. I forgot who said it, but they said something like, so if whatever business or whatever, so when it comes to like business, so if your business made a car, what would it look like? If it's a totally different industry, like what would it look like? And when you think of Apple, you can think of what you can speculate what their car will look like. And so like your branding is what the outside world kind of perceives you as and perceives your business, perceives your persona. Um, and I would say me personally, how I use it, of course, like, when it comes to my like businesses, I want people to have that distinct, like, I know what Create Studios is. Like I know that for a fact because I can see they're creative. I can see that, they're the like catalyst to this. And then when it comes to my personal brand, it's more so just I want people to be inspired. And I want people to see, like, every time I document something that, like, bro, I'm a normal person and I'm really just putting maximum effort. And so my goal with my personal brand is to make every single thing that I do seem super attainable because, like, you're seeing the steps, you're seeing everything.
Mm.
And yeah, I would say that, like, yeah.
Awesome. Great and well said and much more. And that's all about creating your brand, your story, and having people connect to and relate to it as well. Because like people love to connect to different things and much more. So what are some projects that you have coming up in store? I know it's the whole new year. People have like body goals. They want to get, what's going on in your mind? What's some of the things you got going for 2024?
Man, the biggest thing with 2024 is workshops. So with the studio, we're hosting workshops for creators. We're going to host workshops talking about mindset, talking about how to structure businesses, how to make content, how to branch yourself off as a creator. And then we have a lot of like events coming up. Outside of that, we're doing a partner with this brand from Los Angeles called Something Dope for the People, and it's going to be like amazing. So that's some of the biggest things. And of course, when it comes to production company, we want to help tell businesses and brands stories. We want to be able to
Mm.
like, let them grow and do the things that help them grow. And me personally, of course I'm pushing my personal brand, and I'm actually finishing up my book, my very first book that I'm gonna come out with. It's gonna be
Okay,
called,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's gonna be called The Creator Unlocked. And so basically, it's going to be the same thing with what the workshops are doing. But basically, I'm just going to be walking through everyone that reads the book, from start to finish, how I got to where I am and how I did things, but I'm gonna be doing it in a way that is more like a tutorial, um, to using your creativity, but finding a way to get the creativity and like make it make money, like make it make sense, So
Mhm.
I'm excited to put that out into the world.
Awesome. And then it's going to have much success, book signings, and much more. But where can they find the studio at? Because I know you mentioned it and like, man, it sounds great, but where is the studio located?
Oh man, so the studio is located in Stafford, Texas. It's 3727 Greenbrier Drive, Suite 206, in Stafford, Texas, Southwest. So it's right by Missouri City. Like, so a lot of local people, they love it. Um, and of course, you can find us on Instagram, TikTok at Create Studios with a K, Facebook,
Awesome.
all that jazz.
And what's some of the things the studio has to offer? Because like they seeing you all, motivated and you have your story much more, but you're helping other people document and create their own stories as well. So what does this studio provide?
Oh man, so like the studio is really like the like resource you need, like the because we have a co-working space. So this co-working space is called the lab. It's super dope. You can come in there, you can hang out, you can chill, you can connect with people. But then also I have computers there. So I have like the Mac computers that has the Photoshops, the Lightrooms, the DaVinci Resolve, the things that you need to
Wait, you providing the software?
oh yeah, crazy. That's all I'm providing the software. So it's like that way you can use it and actually, do the things that you need to do. We have theme rooms. So we have two theme rooms. One is a locker room, one is an elevator, and they're going to be changing out seasonally. And then I have one room dedicated to the podcasters, the YouTubers, the streamers with, the lighting equipment, the microphones, and everything of that nature. So that way, when you're making this, you can, make it in a super dope way. And have like a think tank as well. So that way I have some whiteboards, bean bags and stuff like that in there. And the biggest thing that everyone loves is Studio 580. It's 2,400 square feet, open space. I have lighting equipment in there, the RGB light.
Someone gonna drive a Ferrari in there or something? I don't know. That sounds like a lot of room.
Yeah, man, it is a lot of room, but it's a super dope space to be able to, host an event or do your productions or do anything you need to do. So we have a lot of space, and yeah, it's a dope space, man.
Gotcha. And I like that because you're allowing like an outlet for the creators to document in any kind of way. And he's providing the software. I mean, you choose, but most of the time you gotta have your own software. Are we over here trying to get by with these free trials? Look, I know we all been there. Or you try to hope that your school account
Oh,
it
yeah.
has all allows you to use Adobe, whatever, much more. And but once you get through with that, they're gonna be like, "Well, you on your own." You're like, "I don't may not have little change to get the little sweet and all that." But he's over here providing that software for you, so that's a huge bonus.
For sure, man. I really just want to see everybody win. My biggest thing is, creating that resource to whether you're just starting or you're already a seasoned vet, you can come in here and feel comfortable.
Already. Now, what is your why? Like, what keeps you going?
I would say my biggest thing is family, but not like more so like long term. Like I feel like I've always want my family for sure. But I've always wanted to provide the lifestyle of just like comfortability. Like I feel like in life we get told we have to do this. We can't do this
Hmm.
until this. We have like, there's so many different things that like there's these restrictions, and I just want to be able to create a life for my immediate family, my future after that family, to where
Hmm.
everybody can just do and be themselves. And of course that time, that freedom, because that's the most valuable resource we have in our life is time. And it's either you live on somebody else's time or you create your own. And so I want to be able to give that to, of course, myself, but everyone, like my family, and things of that nature.
Yeah, you said a mouthful right there because time is something that you can't get back once it is gone. So it's important that you utilize it at any kind of way and be blessed and grateful for it as well. I think that's what the main thing that separates the people from greatness from like the most common thing, and is if you utilize your time each and every day, it creates this great story. And that is what it's all about, especially on Next Level Thinking, as you talked about the branding, your story, your why, getting over your fears. All that is things that you, I, and anyone can do. I mean, the power is in your hands. I feel like so many people think that it's outside of my control. No, 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 no. You right there watching this camera, watching this video, wherever, even listening you hear on the audio platforms. You can do this as well if you just put your mind to it.
For sure, man. It all starts with you.
Absolutely. So as we wrap things up, is there anything else that you want to leave the audience? You already pretty much got them thinking. I'm like, man, I gotta go to the studio. I gotta get to work, and much more.
Yeah. But you know what? Before we get off here, I do have one question for you.
Shoot it.
So, like, what got you started in everything? Like, tell me a little bit more about yourself, because, you know.
Awesome. You're gonna flip it around on the live podcast. So what got me into this and photography, and much more, I actually got into it by accident. It's funny how life rolls. So during the time of MySpace, oh Lord, I said MySpace. Yeah, I said MySpace out loud. Yeah, that social media platform.
Mm-hmm.
One of my homeboys bought an expensive camera, and my best friend still to this day. I thought he was crazy for spending that amount of camera money on this kind of camera. So we're gonna look good. We're gonna get some fly picture and look good for the females. You must be out your mind to buy this expensive camera just for some females. Trust me, it's gonna look good. Put the camera in my hand. I'm over here like, whatever. Put on automatic setting. Snap, 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 snap. Take a couple pictures. Man, these pictures look good. You made me look good. Hey, take some more. Man, get this camera out of my hand. I do not want to be dropping this. It's a lot of money. So I went ahead and took a couple more pictures and looked at the photos again. He was like, hey, these are pretty good. You may have a camera eye. Whatever. So tell me why on the way home, that phrase right there stuck in my mind on the drive home. And I just took a leap of faith, said, man, I give a shot at it. I don't know how this is gonna go. I went and got me a camera. It was not no $1,000 camera. It was Walmart, probably 50 like what pixel, I forgot the name of it. And it went from there. And then this is how it's gonna sound like your story. I just took some pictures of things around in the room, posted it, people are liking it. But okay. Caught on my homegirls. Hey, you wanna do a photo shoot? Sure. Did a photo shoot in the town area, posted those pictures out. Next thing I know, I had to receive a comment. How much you charge? How much you charge? You want to pay me? Yeah, here's my price, $50. It was something around like that.
Yeah.
But that is like my starting journey of how everything went, is just pretty much jumping outside my comfort zone, reaching out to different friends, putting it out there, not knowing how it's going to go. And then I slowly get people bringing me out to events, want to capture graduation pictures or any other different kind of things. And I carried on to college, stage plays, and much more. It's just always getting outside of your comfort zone, and eventually from photography into videography and much more. So my story is kind of similar to yours, and it's a reminder to the audience. Just take a chance on yourself.
Oh, for sure, man. That's super dope. I definitely, when it comes to the camera, it just finds you, you know?
Mm-hmm. Most definitely. So while we close things, well, I want you to close out. Leave the audience out with a quote, and then I'll do my quick spiel as an outro.
The quote that I really want to say is that you are one win away. You're one video away. You're one post away. You're one away, one handshake, one connection away from getting everything that you want. And if you continue to push that, if you continue to believe that in your heart, then you'll be there before you know it. So that's all I got to say.
Hey, as always, we always uplifting people and take it to the next level. It's your host, Chris Holmes, as always. I have my special guest by the name of
Kahlil.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and take things to the next level, because we're all about inspiring you outside your comfort zone. So don't live in fear in the year 2024. Be prosperous and take your dreams by the hand. And remember to take it to the next level. All right, y'all, and peace.